Welcome, everybody, to Uncle Jimmy Ray Saves the Day. Anchor.fm, if you ain't heard of it, number one, you need to get your ass out from up under that rock you've been living under. Number two, it offers you all these easy and great benefits like free listening, free podcasting. You know, they put your stuff out there on Apple, Google, Spotify. Spotify. Somebody needs to write that better. It's really easy to make money with them, too. All you need, your mama, your cousin, a couple other people. You can make about $9.99 a month. Easy enough to pay off your student loans that you got, you know, because everybody's student loans about that cheap. So it's pretty much the best meal ticket you can ask for with starting a podcast or just getting your feet wet, you know, finding stuff you like to listen to. Anchor.fm, baby, listen in!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Friends, Facts, and Fiction. As always, this episode is made possible by our local convenience stores, the misappropriation of history, and you. And now to your hosts, Justin Hammonds, Grant Bramlett, and Drew Shellnut.
What's up? What's happening, world? This is the second Friends episode of Friends, Facts, and Fiction podcast, and we have a dope guest today, Mr. Ryan Phillips. We're going to interview him today about news and the times that's cracking off in the world today. But first off, we're going to get some emails that we got from you lovely listeners out there. Shouts out to Kimberly for showing us love in the email. Hope you're doing well in Kentucky and out there thriving right now in these crazy times. Love you to death. Reva, guys, she likes mayo slaw.
That's
BT
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's wrong with her?
Reva, I love you, but you need to get your flavor up. You need to get your taste buds right. Not really with the mayo slaw.
You got the wrong slaw.
Yeah,
The wrong slaw died, damn it.
It's okay, though. It's okay. But the most interesting email that we got... Did I even do introductions?
No.
I didn't even do introductions,
No,
bro.
you
Didn't even do that.
I'm looking at
Just
Drew
jumping straight in
Shellnut.
there.
Hey, my name is Drew Shellnut, and I'm an addict. Wrong group. Sorry.
Mr. Button Down Short Sleeve today.
Hey.
For our shirt. Also, Grant Bramlett's over here.
Hello.
And we're thugging, man. But back to these emails. Grant's brother, Lee, sent us a very interesting email. If you remember, on our first episode, I believe it was, we talked about...
First or second, yeah.
First, second, we were talking about defunding police and like trying to get people, different programs happening to fund those different programs by defunding the police. And I mentioned like, you know, MTs, you know, answering calls rather than cops. And he had a very different viewpoint on it. And I respect that because it's something we didn't think about.
Right.
And please always email us, like contact us. But you want to read that email, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I will preface that he worked as an EMT for quite a while. When that big tornado came through Tuscaloosa, he was right in the middle of that thing. His truck was 3 blocks away. His house was barely standing. And
that whole neighborhood's gone.
Yeah, he made sure his dog was safe where he was. And he grabbed his bag and he walked to the hospital. And he spent 3 days in the ER helping.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a straight G, man.
There's people out there like that you just have to throw mad respect to. But we'll jump into this guy. Reads, "Hey, Bubba," which is his nickname for me. How cute. Just want to start this by saying I love the podcast and all of y'all's thoughts on what's going on in the world at the start of each one. The last episode about Benny Spanks...
Yeah.
a lot you were talking about with the police defunding, taking responsibilities off their plates. While I wholeheartedly agree with most of y'all's thoughts and statements, from better screening processes to higher education requirements and stress therapy. But there was one that I would really appreciate if y'all took a different look and view on, and that's the police not responding to overdoses /drug calls. As you and Justin know I was an EMT / medic for several years in the Birmingham area, and I can say that those were the scariest calls I had to respond to alone. On many different occasions, I was assaulted, shot at, and robbed at gun or knife point for the drugs we carried, which was never narcotics. It got so bad that several of us would carry small pistols at the time, even though it was against the rules. There are two that really stand out to me to this day. I'd love the chance to tell you my stories and viewpoints if y'all are up to it. Again, love what y'all are doing.
Man, that's so crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Just that's just one story. You know what I mean? There's no telling how many more stories like that across the country that happens. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We respect you, Lee, and thank you for responding and giving us the facts. We like the hot facts. Again, you can always email us at friends.facts.fiction@gmail.com. I'm getting it down. You know what I'm saying? For episode ideas or stories you have that's just crazy like that, we will definitely be reading them off. Anything y'all give us. And shout out to some subscribers we got. My mother, Sylvia Watkins, I love you to death. Thank you for subscribing and giving us a little Patreon money, basically. And Grant's mom, Beth
Bramlett, yes. That's my mom's name.
Oh my God.
Who put a question mark on the teleprompter?
Mr. Bramlett, we love you to death. You already know. And also, shout out to my little brother, Isaac. He's showing love through text, telling me that he's fucking with the podcast. I'm like, word, that's what's
that's
up,
awesome.
Man. Yeah.
Nice.
Much love. I think we're gonna sign into the song of the day at this point.
Let's introduce our guest caller first.
Okay,
Have him
okay.
listen in too.
Yeah, boom. Let's go and get him in here. Everybody, this is Mr. Ryan Phillips, the editor of Starkville Daily News and the Daily Times leader at West Point.
Hey, thanks for having me. No, what y'all are doing is great. I'm biased, of course, because I know y'all and have a history with y'all. But no, it's great just to be here. Starting the conversation. So thanks for having me.
Definitely. And I'm really liking the vibes of our Southern liberal vibes that we have.
It's a rare thing.
That is very rare.
Yeah, we got four Southern liberals all talking at the same time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They make 4 of them?
Yeah.
Apparently so. You're talking to them.
Well, shit.
Somebody got to have their eyes open out here, you know what I'm saying?
I say with that many people gathered together in a place like Tuscaloosa or something, it could be considered a hate group.
All right. It's crazy.
Burn.
Major burn. But it's my turn for the song of the day since y'all snatched it from me last week. But the episode's great. Go listen to it. Our first conspiracy episode. Anyway, we're going to start into the song of the day is Lockdown by Anderson .Paak. And is great for the times, and he's basically made a song for these days. We're gonna run that.
Goes a little something like this.
You should have been downtown. The people are rising. We thought it was a lockdown. They opened the fire. Them bullets was flying. Who said it was a lockdown? Goddamn lie. Oh my, time heals all, but you out of time now. Judge gotta watch us from the clock tower. Little tear gas cleared the whole place out. I'll be back with the hazmat for the next round.
It's them vibes, man.
That
Like
is
every
sexy.
time I hear that track, it's just I had it on repeat yesterday. Actually, walking to the march, July 4th. The march in Nashville was dope. Me and Grant and his wife are down there, and I had that on my speaker in my backpack on repeat, walking down to the march. I was like, "This is
great.
the vibe today."
It put it right in perspective.
Bro, it's
you
the
know what I
best
mean?
4th of July I could ever have had to protest something that matters to me and show my actual freedom and independence. You know what I'm saying? I thoroughly enjoyed yesterday. But we're going to slide into this interview, right?
Yeah, I mean,
And something I thought was interesting from the viewer email, or from, I think y'all said it was Grant's brother, that was an EMT, that with just the entire defunding the police argument. I mean, that's something that I've had a lot of feedback from my readers here, like in kind of our part of Mississippi. And I think there are so many misconceptions with it that I think, like right off top, as soon as a lot of people hear it, they think that it's going to devolve into some anarchy state, kind of like the autonomous zone in Seattle,
right.
all over the country. It's not the case.
No, I think this is bad
really
marketing.
Try to get to the core of a lot of the people who are pushing this. You'll see it's like a lot more complex. I mean, I'm sure y'all know that.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's so many folks out there, and I think that's why having conversations like this are so important.
No, definitely, bro, for sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that first, because that is it. I thought those are some really interesting points that he raised about, EMTs having to protect themselves.
Exactly, bro.
That was something I'd never heard of.
Exactly. That's shocked me, too.
And I totally can see it, like 100%.
For sure, man. Yeah. Actually, it leads into the first question, man. Like, how busy are you between, like, racial injustice and, like, COVID covering and, like, all of this news,
I mean,
bro?
it
like,
is definitely... It's kind of like being a tennis ball, just kind of being bounced
back and
from
forth,
one
back and
side
forth.
to the other.
Yeah.
But even since the last time I talked with y'all, we've had a lot of really interesting developments.
Yeah, for sure.
That we had our big, Unity March probably 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And in kind of doing the post-mortem of that march, there were a lot of concerns that, and I'm sure that it's this way in towns all over America, that the movement, the march itself was kind of hijacked. There wasn't a whole lot of participation by the local Black community. There wasn't, it was more a lot of these politicians, big administrators, folks like that,
trying
that
to build
almost
a platform,
kind of like
basically
latched their star to this,
Yeah, exactly.
And that made people skeptical right out of the gate. But luckily we've had, and I want to call them a splinter group, but because all these people were involved with that march too. Yeah. But, like the new Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, our local chapter here is fantastic. That they can kind of see the bigger picture of everything that's going on, and had their first meeting with a couple of other local groups, like grassroots type groups, on Friday that was a lot more heavily monitored. That there weren't like politicians, ministers, administrators, folks like that who are already kind of have their own built-in agenda anyways, were barred from coming. Or they were invited to come, but it was like, you're going to have to leave your agenda and your message at the door, and you're going to have to listen.
You got to listen. You got to come listen. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's where so much of this, I think, should be headed. And I know that in some communities, it's, the message has probably been more hijacked than in others, but that's kind of the big thing. The biggest development I've seen locally. That and the fact that people don't want to wear fucking masks.
Oh, bro.
God damn.
The masks.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We can get into a whole conversation on that, too.
Least, like in our town, I think they're going to pass a mask ordinance this week, but it's like fucking Groundhog Day. That this was all shit that we were dealing with in April.
Yeah, bro. It's crazy.
It should have already kind of eased down into something that's a little more manageable. But now we have to, basically give them a seatbelt law, like I mentioned, a couple of weeks ago.
It's crazy. And it's all been a blur, man. It's like, what is it, March 135th or something? Like, what I mean? It seems like a blur since, like, St. Patty's Day. Like, what are we doing, bro? How we have most cases now? We're supposed to be flattening this, right?
We're supposed to be moving away. And,
Exactly.
and Nashville just moved from phase 3 back to phase 2 because we had 680 cases in one day.
The highest in the whole COVID, bro.
Yep.
And it's fucking July.
Now, how much of that's for the whole state?
No, that's just for Nashville.
That's just Davidson
County. I was wondering how much of the new Nashville case total is what percentage of that is it for the entire state?
Oh, I don't even know.
I mean, that's got to be crazy.
Yeah, it does, because Nashville holds, the majority of Nashville.
It's the state capital, so I mean,
Nashville, Memphis, and
Chattanooga?
no,
Maybe Knoxville.
Knoxville, yeah, hold the highest.
Knoxville.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Knoxville. Yeah. But
Like
anyway,
in Mississippi, we don't have any city even close to the size of Nashville.
Right.
But we had, if Nashville's seeing that many new cases in one day, our spike, I think over the last 3 days, we've been seeing like 900 new cases a day.
That's
that's
crazy,
statewide.
bro.
good Lord.
And it's also just like, just wear a mask, bro. Like, it's not that big an inconvenience. Even Nashville has the mandate that happened to where it's a Class C misdemeanor.
Yeah. So and also I think it's really funny, the arguments against the reason why these things are popping off the way they are is because of all these protests.
Yeah.
People aren't wearing masks, and I've even seen some doctored photos of protests from around here where people's masks are. And you can tell that it's doctored because where the mask is like a fake piece of mouth. You know, and like they've doctored the pictures. It's like the reason why COVID is spreading like this is because these people aren't wearing masks at the protest. No, the reason why it's spreading like it is around here, and I have been there. Grant and I went to the biggest one in Nashville with over 20,000 people, and everyone had a mask on.
I didn't see a single person
Not
without
one
a mask.
single person did not have a mask on. But the people who don't have masks on are the idiots that are down there at the fucking honky tonks and shit. Kid Rock's place. Kid Rock, fuck you. And anything you stand for. But
he's supposed to run for president
The
soon,
flag's
isn't
the
he?
only mask I need.
oh man, I tell you what, if I knew what to tell you.
Boy, speaking of flags, bro, this whole Confederate shit is out of hand as well, man. Like, it's still like, why is this such a like? What's your take on the stars and bars, my guy?
You know, and I have to give big ups to the state of Mississippi for realizing
Yeah, they changed the flag.
The multifaceted impact that having that. Oh yeah, for sure. Like the whole fucking nation should be clapping for it.
Right.
Because it's like, I mean, if y'all seen Rocky IV, you know, where he fights Dolph Lundgren, you know, and at the end of it, he's like, if I could change and y'all could change, we all can change.
We all can
that's
change.
fucking Mississippi right now, you know?
Straight up, bro.
Man. Yeah.
Straight up.
And I mean, there were old people I was seeing that were crying over it, you know, because they never thought they'd see this in their lifetime.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So to me, I think it's an indictment of kind of us as a larger society, you know, that now folks are finally willing to like put their votes and their policy where their mouth is.
Yeah. Straight up.
And it is. It's. I mean, and just at the most fundamental level with it, how could you possibly expect anybody other than some like white bread neoconservative wanting to do business in your state when that's the first message they see, you know, is the stars and bars on the flag. Now it could be, you know, that in November, whenever Mississippi votes on it, they could put fucking Jefferson Davis shooting the middle finger on the flag. I don't know. You know, it's a distinct possibility.
They can do whatever they want.
It's a big start.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I've seen plenty of like news footage and everything of people saying, you know, even Mississippi, like fucking Mississippi pulled the stars and bars off their flag, you know, because, you know, especially in major cities or the Northeast or the West Coast, they think, you know, Mississippi is just the absolute bottom of the barrel when it comes to education or racism, you know, that kind of stuff. But to see it happening there, which is untrue because there's plenty of wonderful places in Mississippi.
Definitely. Starkville's one of my favorites.
The big compromise that came out of that, though, which I do still think is problematic, even though we have it on our money, you know, is that the concession was, regardless of what the new flag becomes, it has to have "In God We Trust" on it.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of an issue.
You know, and I mean, at least, and I don't know how to feel about that, so maybe y'all can talk me through it. That, you know, I've always been really critical of the Mississippi Democratic Party for how weak and ineffective they've always been.
Of course.
You know?
They've been dormant, basically,
the Republicans have run, I was about to say the Republicans have run this state since, you know, the 60s.
Yeah.
You know, whenever the mass flip-flop of the parties and their beliefs happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But, you know, the fact that they were willing to concede to that point, you know, how do y'all feel about that?
I mean, to me, it's in our Constitution, the separation of church and state. And
The separation of church and state. Did you hear me? What's that? The separation of church and state.
And I mean, you know, if someone wants to put their own personal trust into God or any other deity that they deem fit, that is 100% their prerogative, and I respect and love them for that reason. But to have a blanket statement like that I mean, we all know that's referring to Christianity, you know, but it's just that doesn't speak for everybody. And this is a very diverse nation that a lot of the immigrants that came over here originally that are now, you know, several generations into this country came because of religious prosecution. So it just seems hypocritical to me personally.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
and it's one of those that I'm fascinated by the conversations that happen behind closed doors with this, because I'm wondering what other concessions were possible too.
Right.
You know, to be like, well, what if we just take the stars off of it? Like, you know, like I'm sure there was plenty of jackassery like that.
Of course.
But I mean, I'm still very, I would say I'm happy, but at the same time, a little bit disappointed that it seems like, you know, the folks who run this state are still getting what they want out of it.
Right.
Of course, man.
Right.
It all builds into
I've
itself.
always been really opposed to like whiny ass people getting what they want. So,
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. And that type of thing, it kind of like gives into the inaccuracies of like Southern history too. Like they'll just like scrub the book how they want to do it. You know what I mean? Like leave things out, and they can't do that anymore now. Like this facts need to be heard. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and that's been a Southern thing forever. It's just like, oh, it didn't happen like that. It happened like this. It's like white people writing history basically. It's like, give all the facts out. You know what I'm saying?
Not basically, literally.
Yeah.
Like
for real.
I mean, the textbooks are different down here than they are in most of the rest of the country.
It's crazy. It's wild, bro. But I remember you mentioning the Equal Justice Initiative, man. Are you still working with them?
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
that we actually are in contact with, and yeah, we had one of our local group meetings the other day for the Starkville-Oxabaha Unity League.
Okay.
That in doing so, like, we wanted to claim our monument after I did a bunch of research on like local lynchings and slavery, and without getting too much into that, through it, we found out that at the Equal Justice Initiative's new museum in Birmingham, they have different statues made for every county in America that a lynching occurred in.
Wow.
With the names of everybody. And I want to say maybe their birth and death year.
Jesus, talk about the accuracy of history
but we
there.
reached
Jesus.
out to them. I'm sorry.
The accuracy of history there compared to inaccuracies in the past. You know what I mean? Like that's
without a
that's
doubt.
beautiful. That's progression.
But I think what they're wanting to do, and if I can broadcast this message out to a wider audience to where, it can kind of like galvanize folks to do it.
Yeah.
I think what they're wanting to do is to actually have the Black communities locally approach them, as opposed, again, to some like white journalists like me asking for it,
Yeah, for sure.
And I totally understand that. And that kind of shows like my own whiteness was like clouding, me from seeing the bigger picture.
I do.
But one of our members of our local group mentioned that, and that kind of like hit me like a ton of bricks,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God, like it's going to take a concerted, like grassroots effort for folks to prove to EJI that they're sincere in wanting it, you know?
Yeah.
Cause I'm sure they viewed me as like nothing but an opportunist, which they have every right to. I probably would be skeptical of somebody like me too. Fake news and all.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
That's real.
Well, I guess as a journalist, I should ask you, how much of the news that you put out is fake? we talking 99%, 98% fake?
It depends on who made me mad that day.
Oh, nice.
Like who I want to ruin with my work. I do, before my feet hit the floor every morning, I'm like thinking of what I can gin up.
Right.
For sure.
Who do you have a personal vendetta against?
Yeah.
And that's who you're going to talk about that day.
But I think in seriousness, though, that I've had several people, and mostly academics, and that's kind of their problem because they don't work in the field.
Right.
Not to bash academics, but like especially folks who teach journalism. And there's this like very misconstrued idea that as a journalist, you can't also be an activist.
Right.
And to me, that's horseshit.
Yeah,
because if you look at, again, Ida B. Wells, Ida Tarbell,
Exactly.
Upton Sinclair,
Yeah.
those people were journalists who used their platform to affect social change.
Yep.
That's what everybody should be doing.
Exactly. That's kind of like an underlying job of a journalist, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Without
like,
a doubt. If you have a platform, especially right now, and that's where I think so many folks like in our local business communities here, so I know it's got to be that way everywhere else, that they're kind of being taken to task now. It's like you have all of this influence. You have this, huge platform. What are you using it for?
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's I really like how you look at that, bro.
Yeah.
I
for
respect
sure.
that 1000%.
Yeah, me too.
not to
Now,
keep.
it doesn't make everybody happy. I have more critics than I do anything.
Yeah, not
but,
at
I mean,
all.
that's
Well, if you've got more critics than anything, it means you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Facts.
And I posted, I boosted a post of ours, Friends, Facts, and Fiction post. And all it was, hey, if you like what you hear, come and support us. Yeah. But I got like super, super big time like hate mail off of that. And all it was just these dudes that were like fake news, like a big picture of Trump.
So, somebody said nobody gives a shit.
Nobody,
yeah, like, bro, we don't even know you, bro.
Like this just in, no one gives a shit. And fuck you, Drew Shellnut.
Like,
and I'm like, what the? I just said if you like us, support us.
Yeah.
Not like I mean, I'm sorry, your panties are in a wad. Right. But what I actually
get off my Facebook.
Right. Oh, I'm gonna tell you what. But the thing is that these are people who weren't any of our friends.
Exactly.
Yeah. These are just somebody. So they obviously listened to it, which good on them.
Yeah, of course.
But
that means you're doing something right, though.
Yeah, right. And that's what I posted. I was like, if you got your panties in a wad, we're doing something right.
Exactly. Straight up.
And so much of this, like, we're not, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's COVID, if it's Black Lives Matter, or what issue it is. If we aren't talking about it, nothing will be done.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Period. There won't be any awareness of it, and we'll treat it like we did, especially civil rights, for the last 50 fucking years with this attitude of, well, why bring it up? You know?
Yeah, because it's still a problem.
It's because nothing's been fixed.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, I had a guy, like y'all talking about like getting hate mail. I will always have infinite respect, regardless of how fucking stupid their positions are, of people who come in off the street to the newspaper and talk to me face to face.
Whoa,
right.
Like, to me, that takes like some stones that you're willing to like
some
try
old
to go
school vibe, bro.
I've never.
I had one of our local organizers here. He's the commander of the new Black Panther Party. His name's Bashawn Ferguson. Great dude. He's been real good to me. Like,
shouts out to the
whole
homie.
time I've known him. Say what?
Shouts out to the homie.
Oh yeah, no, he's fantastic. But I put a picture of him and his mama on the front page. He had a booth set up at our Juneteenth event, and they had their fists raised, you know, and they were excited because it was our first city-sanctioned Juneteenth event, you know.
Nice.
But I put them on the front page, and he did have his Black Panther patch on his vest, you know.
Oh yeah.
But this guy comes in off the streets and is like, you know, he was already mad about like all the lynching reporting that I had done. But the picture of Bashawn set him off, you know, that he had enough by that point.
That's amazing. And, what did he say?
That he comes in, he's like, you know, you so focused on looking at people like the Black Panthers and digging up all this negative history. What are you doing for the other side? I was like, you mean the folks lynching people? Like, where's the fucking logic there?
Exactly.
Like,
you backwards ass
motherfucker. You can tell he hadn't even thought about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I think it's an important thing to remember, you know, certain people are confused as to why the All Lives Matter hashtag is an issue right now. And it's the sense that one of the most brutalized minorities in our country needs the attention right now. Like, straight white men have always had attention. Why are they complaining that they're not on the headlines anymore? You know, I mean, like,
because their lives matter. Damn it.
Tell you what, hellfire and brimfish, boy.
Hellfire and brimfish.
But the thing is, it just drives me crazy, is that their lives already matter.
Because the same people who will make that argument completely removing Black people from it, same people who make that argument completely ignored natives, you know?
Right.
That's a group that their lives don't matter no more because there ain't none of them fucking left.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, white people don't belong here anyway. We don't. Like, we came over and just raped and pillaged.
Yeah, I mean,
we essentially are like Vikings
like
2.0. You know, like, and it is a sickness. We are a sickness. I mean, honestly,
at the time that was literally the case. I mean,
but that's where, like, I don't know. I had a lot of I did a lot of soul searching and beer drinking on the 4th of July.
There you go.
You know, and that was, you know, something I kept thinking about is like, you know, that we're so quick to have, one of the holidays that I hate more than anything is Flag Day. I think it's stupid. What's the point? It's basically it's a preview to 4th of July.
I know, I
That's
love
the
it.
same thing.
It's so funny.
So why is it Juneteenth a federal holiday?
Right.
Why don't we have a Native Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy, man.
I mean, I feel like we're getting there because you just mentioned the fact that, Starkville had its first sanctioned Juneteenth celebration,
Yeah.
and that's awesome.
Why do we have a white Jesus?
Because he was white.
Call he was white, damn it.
Like,
God's a black woman. Those are facts.
Yeah. Definitely.
Anyway,
Is it
has to
Oprah?
be.
it's not Oprah.
Oh, it's
Definitely
not Oprah?
Oh, damn it.
No.
No one gets.
I believe it's
no one
Erykah
gets the
Badu.
free car.
I believe it's Erykah
But
Badu.
what worries me though, and this is more for like us as of all races, like as a society at large, that it worries the concept of appeasement worries me. That that we got the flag changed. Okay, should we stop? We had our.
It's like we gave you something. All right, y'all good now?
Yeah,
it's like no, we
and
still
that
need
worries
this change and
so
reform,
bad.
bro. Like, yeah.
That a certain segment of the population, and I don't think it's black folks, I think it's white folks that are attached to the movement and do have good intentions, but to them, that's like they blowed up the Death Star getting the flag taken down.
Yeah, exactly.
They're left to fight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. Like it's so wild how this black versus white thing is still going and it's still bubbling so much, and for good reason. But at the same time, it's like, how are we just now getting here?
Yeah.
This should have already should have had this happen already. You know what I'm saying?
That question makes me so tired.
Yeah, man.
Every time I hear it.
Yeah.
It took a world pandemic
Because
and
I don't know.
a lot of black lives by cops being taken for us to get here.
Well, I will quote one of my favorite artists, Deltron 3030.
There you go. Bring it up.
Crises precipitate change.
Oh yeah.
Straight up.
And that's
Facts.
That's what happens. And it fucking sucks that we have to get to that point, but our human condition brings us there.
Yeah. Straight up, man.
That's like
disaster brings people together.
Lou
Bro.
Hanger, that she got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and then
Yep.
that's when she started doing something about
Right.
it. You know.
Yep.
So yeah, I totally think that's spot on.
For sure. What's up? What's happening, world? This is Justin, Drew, and Grant from Friends, Facts, and Fiction podcast, and we're here to talk about Anchor.fm, the easiest way to make a podcast. Let's talk about it.
It's free.
It's free.
Uh-oh. They have all these creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Anchor will also distribute your podcast to Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I mean, anywhere you can really find a podcast. They'll throw it out there, bro.
And with no minimum listenership, they will also help you gain money.
Boom. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. I mean, download the free app right now, bro. What you waiting on? Let's
Do it.
go. Let's go. To bring up something that's not really talked about when it comes to this COVID crisis, man. When last time we talked, you mentioned the mental health facilities dealing with COVID. I think you mentioned Rolling Hills and like wards of the state being just basically just put to the side and like forgot about in this COVID time, and they're just dying off. You have any updates on that or anything you want to say about that?
That it's one of those, since it's a private facility, and that was going to kind of be like my last like real hoorah before I left for my new job.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those. Have y'all ever seen Scrooged?
Yes.
The Bill Murray.
Yes.
That well, I think he uses the term, just scrape them off. Talking about like, and I do. I
That's
think
brutal.
That that's how so many folks are looking at least our facility locally. That again, these are all mentally ill folks. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like I had a coworker, come into my office, and I can say this now that I'm on my way out. That came into my office, and was like, why aren't we getting more obituaries for COVID deaths? And I'm like, because the majority of these are wards from the state, and they're like, well, do they not get funerals? I was like, no, they dig a fucking hole and throw them in it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the harsh reality of that.
Right.
But again, when those are the people that are dying, if that was, so I think at last count, I think they had 13 or 14 die from this one facility, a place where out of 150 residents, 2/3 of them tested positive for it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
that it is. It's just this attitude. You know, if this had happened at a nursing home, like where all the rich white folks live, there would be folks marching in the streets right now.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
Wanting things to change. But again, since these are, you know, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, but the less thans, you know, who gives a shit?
The wars of
And
the
that
state,
breaks
man.
my heart.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've been trying to push, and I'm hoping I can get our city on board to push for some kind of state investigation of this place because it just seems so atypical.
Yeah.
With, you know, now that we've rocked on 4 months through this, I think that we can kind of understand a little bit better how it spreads through facilities. And it's just obvious something is bad wrong with this place.
Yeah. And it's probably all over the country. You know what I'm saying? That's just in your sector. Like, it's probably happened all over the country, bro. Like, these wars of the state, they get it and they just don't care because you're property to the state at that point. Like, they take everything from you. You're just a number. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he died, cool, whatever. And that's how they.
It's almost like a throwback to MK Ultra.
Yeah.
Oh wow. But I think that where we're seeing the biggest problems, you know, I guess from a policy and regulation standpoint, is the fact that this isn't isolated to one county. This is every county, all 82 counties in the state of Mississippi.
Damn.
To where there is no oversight anymore. They can't even compile the data daily and do it right.
Jesus.
Much less, like, you know, have the stones to go do an investigation of each place that does have high case numbers.
Yeah.
You know, and I would imagine it's that way in every state in America, in every county.
Yeah, exactly, bro. And fun fact, did not know there was 82 counties in Mississippi, but facts. Big facts.
Fun story with that too is we have it is one of the poor. I think it might be the poorest county in Mississippi or in the country.
Oh shit!
It's Issaquah County. It is in the Delta.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Now, granted, they only have a population of like 1,500 folks or something.
Yeah.
I still don't think they've reported a single case.
Of course.
They don't have a hospital.
Social distance.
Yeah. And man, it's probably dirt roads out there, man, to be honest. Like,
oh, yeah.
That Mississippi red
and they
clay,
got
bro.
hit real bad with flooding, too. So I think a lot of people
they're in the Delta, bro.
Anyways.
Like, yeah, definitely. That's wild to think about. Well, I mean, you researching those COVID, man. Like, what was the moment that you first, like, realized that COVID is, like, real for real out here? Like, it's not a game.
Well, like luckily, when I was working in Atlanta for the Associated Press, and when I was in Birmingham, that I've covered a couple of pandemics before this, like when we had Ebola and chikungunya virus, which is a mosquito-borne virus.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd had a lot of preparation, at least in terms of seeing the signs of like the trajectory of it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I remember I called a staff meeting in January and was like, this is something that I think is going to be inevitable. But at that point, I was thinking, if y'all remember SARS in 2011, you know, that it was, there were people wearing masks. I remember that, but it wasn't anything because it didn't have the penetration that COVID does.
Yeah, right.
Or has. But I remember sitting at a bar here in Starkville that was, you know, they'd already started talking about, you know, possibly locking stuff down. They had postponed college sports, but we were watching.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like the night that like LeBron was supposed to play Zion or something.
Yeah.
And there's this like completely empty arena on ESPN. And they're like, yeah, the NBA's just announced that they're canceling the rest of the season.
Yeah.
That was my 9/11 moment, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
It was like, this is dead serious.
Yeah.
And it did. I felt like now that we've settled into this quote, like new normal, you know, I have to say those like 3 weeks after that was some of like, it's probably the most eerie time I can ever remember. You know, where our main street was completely shut down. Like there wasn't a soul.
Yeah.
You know, and it turned into a ghost town.
For
now,
sure.
fortunately, and I think this is, you know, for more colleges than just ours, that all of this really kind of came to a forefront, like right at the beginning of spring break.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To where the students weren't here. The students make up half of the population in our county.
Of course, bro.
So, you know, not having them here, I think probably saved a bunch of lives.
I'm sure T-Town's feeling similar effects.
I don't know. I'm interested to hear y'all's where were you moments.
Well, for me, man, like I work at Mafiosa's in Nashville pizzeria, and on St. Patty's Day, no lie, it's like it's St. Patty's Day, and we have a special on Tuesdays, and it landed on Tuesday this year. It's 2-for-1 beers, 2-for-1 slices of pizza. And the owner came in and shut that shit down at like fucking 7:00. Like,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
I know the owner,
Yeah.
and that owner loves money.
yeah,
So
he wants to get his money in, and he shut
Yeah.
down a special day that landed on St. Patty's Day. It was like, bro, y'all need to go home. This shit is real. And we're closed for like a week, and that was like a wake up sounds like, oh, this shit's for real. But then like contacting a few of my friends, my homie from Michigan. Told me that he was about to lose his father to the COVID, and I was like,
Oh, wow.
holy shit, like this is really real. Like, this is really real. And it's like a week into it too.
yeah,
So
just
like,
2 removed from you.
yeah, exactly. You mean, and that's when I just locked down in my house for like 2 weeks, like freezer full, fridge full, like Netflix video games. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe try to do some writing once I get halfway through this tequila bottle. You know what I mean? Like, that was my vibes. But that's when I realized it, man. Grant, what about you, man?
Funny enough, I have to kind of throw out a little thanks to Netflix because they had that
The Explain joint?
the Explain
Yeah.
series. I love that show.
Yeah, that's dope.
They had a whole episode on pandemics, and it was ironically like 2 months, a month before the outbreak really happened.
Yeah,
I remember Bill Gates and several other very intelligent like scientists and philanthropers, all the like.
We know
saying
they have the COVID Explained now too, right?
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah,
It's
the
really
new
good.
one. Yeah.
Was saying that it's not a matter of when. I mean, it's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when the next global pandemic happens. Yeah. And then shit finally started to break the surface about COVID, and I was like, here it is, you know. And then come to find out through I try to look pretty deep and find reliable sources of news and everything like that. That we've known, the American government's known about it since October or something like that, you know?
Yeah, for
And
sure. At
They're
least.
saying like, oh, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about
It's
it.
over
And
there.
then all of a sudden, they're like, oh, actually, we're shutting down. You know?
Wow.
Actually, take your ass home real quick.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll never forget in the first like few weeks though, like you were saying, the streets were dead. Like Nashville was so dead in those first 2 weeks, bro. It was the best time to drive.
Oh yeah, it was
Ever,
fantastic.
bro. Like it
you
was
can get
so great.
anywhere
Yeah, bro, like,
in
I'm
like
t-
5 minutes.
I'm talking like I'm just switching lanes to switch lanes. Like, oh shit, look at what's up? Oh, I can go anywhere right now. Yeah, straight up.
Actually, how much did you love that, considering you have driving therapy, if you will?
Bro, yeah, dropping that top on that little car and driving that thing around is literally my therapy.
Right.
If anybody gives me give me some free therapy, hit me up. But anyway, Drew, when was your first like 9/11 COVID moment?
Actually, it had to do with a job search.
That's real.
I have never, and I don't mean to toot my own horn, but toot.
Toot.
I have never had an issue getting a job with my experience. And I'm a chef.
Hey,
by the by.
you a G with the knives and spatulas, my G.
But the thing is, I couldn't even like after about 2 weeks of this, I couldn't even get a call back from Sonic.
That's fucking
And I was like, fuck.
Right.
That's fucking
This
crazy.
shit is real because I usually get turned down from places like that for being overqualified.
Yeah, exactly.
I am being turned down from those places now because the job scene in general is so overflooded because no one has a job.
Yeah. And
that
plus,
they're
they want
just-
to give everybody hours too, so
Right.
they can't hire a lot of people. They're trying to keep their staff
And
down.
and
all
and
this shit.
everybody's having to do that thing that I hate, which is hiring out of necessity, not out of.
That's when you're dispensable.
So yeah. So it sucked the first couple months that I moved up here because I had about 16 years of culinary experience under my belt, and then I had to start over. Well, now it's starting over completely after being here and having almost 20 years under my belt.
Exactly.
So it really sucks on your psyche, really.
Yeah.
Because it makes you feel like you're not worth shit.
Exactly, bro.
But the only saving grace for that for me is the fact that everyone's going through this. It's not just me. If it was just me, then I would be a old pity party. But I'm not.
I had to realize that myself, man. Like the shit I've been going through, I've
Right.
told y'all about, and I was in that dark spot last week and shit. Like, I literally just had to remind myself, like, bro, like, you know, everybody's going through shit, right? Like, it's not just you, motherfucker. Stop being selfish out here. Like, you know what I mean? Put good energy back out to the wave. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop being so negative. And it's hard to get there, man. But like, you know, it must be done to.
And so much of it too, when, you know, all of this broke. And I think that in hindsight, it was just so insensitive and demoralizing to chalk jobs up to essential and non-essential.
Oh, for sure.
Because like, I mean,
way to divide.
Yeah, you can make the argument one way or the other on the media, you know, but I can't imagine being somebody who had an honest job, worked as hard as they could every day, just for them to be dubbed non-essential.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I think that speaks to what y'all were just saying, you know, with the sense of despair.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, evidently I must not be important.
Right.
If they can call me non-essential and tell me I can't go to work.
I actually posted on my stepbrother Jeremy Ham made a post about a month or two into this, and he asked, "What has everybody learned out of this?" And all I wrote was, "I'm not essential."
That's real.
Yeah.
You said your stepbrother's name is Jeremy Ham? Damn, so I thought I was J Ham. Damn. Damn.
I'm interested, like, especially Drew, with your culinary background and all that you've seen and all that you know about this business. Like, what do you think it could look like in a year with the changes that are happening in the kitchen?
It's going to be drastic.
Yeah.
It's the skeleton crew probably doesn't explain it enough.
Yeah.
People are going to be using the least amount of help that they can to try to get through this, because we're not done with this. We just, like I said before, we just got set back to phase two again.
Yeah, exactly.
And these assholes are out there not wearing their masks and going around being just jackasses as they would. But
that shit was everywhere yesterday, bro. I was like, oh my God.
Honestly, in about a year, where I see the restaurant industry is pretty close to the same place where it is right now. And I'm not going to lie about that, because you will have maybe 75% capacity that is allowed to you, and you know, what have you.
At max.
But at max. Yeah. But because people won't listen to, and shout out to another one of my family members, my Uncle Jeremy. He actually posted, and which was a little bit of a surprise to me, because, you know, a lot of people in my family are, you know, on the line of against this. But he said, which was a very smart quote, which was, "I'm wearing a mask now, so I don't have to again." Yeah. And a lot more people need that sense of just well-being, completely.
Social responsibility,
right. Exactly. But our restaurant industries, they're only going to get worse before they get better.
You know what scares me about the restaurant industry? Because I'm seeing it firsthand, with the way I'm getting paid.
Yeah, because I don't have a job right now, and you do.
Yeah, and it's wild, because like the way I'm getting paid now is the owners can actually see, like, oh, we can just pay them this much, you know what I mean, and get our money up, and then start paying them more. You know what I mean? So it's a transfer of wealth to where, like, they realize they can cut the staff short, cut the pay down to maximize profits, and that might be a trend that keeps going.
Oh yeah,
I can think
very definitely
without anybody getting a proper pay, and the owners just making the most money. You know what I mean? It's like it's the equal to it is getting split way hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what scares me the most about it, is that transfer of wealth, man. Like, it's basically like creating fucking peasants right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is that's a dark statement, but you get what I'm saying.
I mean, I really obviously hope that doesn't go that way.
Me either.
I think something that's kind of cool is a lot of people that are quote unquote non-essential have been getting $8.75 a week for a while, and I think it's going to be hopefully employers are going to realize, oh, I need to pay them at least something close to that a week because they've already gotten accustomed to that lifestyle, and then realizing that.
Bro, I am standing here saying not the case. Trust me, it's not the case, my guy. Like for real, dog.
Yeah, they don't care.
It's honestly, it's getting to the point.
They know that your money's going to run out eventually with your 875, and they're going to give you what they're going to give you.
They're going to know that you, at some point, they're going to be like, you have to depend on me to pay you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to get back to that. Because the government's not going to be here. It's not going to give us this money forever, bro. It's about to be up soon anyway.
Yeah, mine's
everybody's about to be up anyway. It's only 13 weeks, right? Like, I mean, shit. It's just wild, man. And I mean, it's affecting Nashville musicians like crazy. You know what I'm saying? And like, and I'm sure, Ryan, for your job, I'm sure it's kind of like pushing some shit back, like, you know, meetings and
I
things
was going to
such.
mention too is the big newspaper in Nashville's the Tennessean, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're owned by Gannett,
Okay.
and we're seeing. When Gannett and Gatehouse did their big merger, which people should be thrown in prison for the way this shit has gone down.
Yeah. Tell me about it, please.
From what I've heard from my friends who do work at Gannett and Gatehouse papers, that their whole plan initially was to kill the industry in 5 years. That was pre-COVID. This gave them the opportunity to be, because most newspapers, and we're not a Gannett or Gatehouse paper, but we own the property we're at. You know, if you look at our profit lines, if you look at a lot of these other ones that have like these big, the Tuscaloosa News, great example of it. You know, they're worth more dead than alive based off real estate.
Yeah.
So this gave these companies the incentive to be like, let's just speed it up. Instead of 5 years, let's do it in 5 months.
That's horrifying.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And that's the whole, like the Washington Post slogan, you know, democracy dies in the dark. And that's what I'm terrified about, because it's, you know, I'm of the mindset, you know, fuck the CNNs and the Foxes of the world. You're only going to get accurate information in most cases from your local newspapers.
Right.
And if those die out, like, what are we left with? We're left with InfoWars,
propaganda,
and Fox, and like these things that shape the zeitgeist.
Exactly, because a lot of people's not going to research. You know what I mean? Like, do the actual fact checking. They're just going to get what they see.
99.99% of people will not do.
It's like,
research.
oh, you believe that? Did you click on it? Did you see that it was a fake website or like some conspiracy? Did you check?
Read it on Facebook.
Exactly. Seen it on Facebook. Maybe it's real.
Man,
no,
this
bro.
Facebook thing I seen the other day, man. I tell you what.
Yeah, and I mean, if Facebook's adding fuel to the fire, because it's the perfect space to like recruit these fucking neo-Nazi motherfuckers for those groups. Like, it's the perfect place, bro.
Yeah,
it's fucking scary. But
see, I remember when the term, and it was right before Trump got elected. It was during the campaign when the whole term fake news got weaponized.
Yeah, bro.
That when that became the cop out, if you know, whatever you were reading didn't jive with your preconceived notions, you know?
Yeah.
And it has taken on a life of its own that I don't think any of us in the business could have anticipated, because now if we report the truth, all it takes is for somebody to say fake news ain't real.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And then that becomes that's okay. Like, that's an acceptable response. And that it's the cognitive dissonance with this just makes my fucking head hurt. Yeah. Because you can show people the truth, but if they don't want to accept it, if they don't want to believe it, that now for whatever reason we live in a time where you just don't have to. You can seek out alternate facts. You know, you can find, you know, these
alternative facts, bro.
It kills me. Like, what does that even mean?
Oh my god!
It means that they're not facts.
Exactly. the not hot facts, my guy. Them is cold lies.
Cold facts. Cold lies.
Exactly.
That's literally all you have. Is hot facts and cold lies.
Exactly. You know? That's all we got. You know what I'm saying? Cool beans, hot rice. You know what I'm saying? But man, you mentioned the fact that you're on the way out of Starkville, man. Can you talk about your next venture real quick before we wrap up? Or
without naming names, because we're getting ready to roll out and do like a bunch of marketing stuff.
I got you.
But I'll basically be a publisher of my own digital media outlet in Tuscaloosa.
Hell beautiful, yeah, bro. Good for you.
That and I do. I'm a firm believer with, and I just don't want to like out the company that is taking the chance on me for this,
right?
Until they get ready to announce it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do. I think that the direction that this company's going is where journalism, at least community journalism, is going to be in 10, 15 years, where it's going to be one person who is seeking out the entire business, without getting into the business model itself, is just wholesale different than the old advertiser subscriber business model.
Yeah,
that it's all about like, proving yourself to the community, and then through your good work being supported financially. And I think, that it was a lot like what y'all said about the restaurant industry. Gone are the days where you have 15 people working at a news outlet.
Exactly.
That it's going to be one person. Like, I'm going to be, it's like the old phrase, chief cook and bottle washer. Like, that's going to be me. Like, that I'll be the publisher, executive editor, salesperson,
one-stop shop.
But I think that the quality of what we do will be better as a result, because it will be the strong will survive and the weak won't.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, that sounds like music to me. The way that the music industry's gone.
Yeah. Straight up. So it's coming all to like that person that's the artist to do most of everything.
You got to do pretty much all of it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up.
And there's a few big labels still, but that feels very similarly to the large like media sources or media companies,
And you can so easily get shelved when you fuck with large companies anyway. Like, your ideas, your creations can just be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Anyway,
we don't know how to sell that right now.
Yeah, so sit your ass down.
But can you do
minute.
this?
Exactly.
Right.
And I'm interested, to catch back up with y'all about, kind of like how y'all have been impacted and how things are going, as musicians right now, since it's, being able to play gigs is so hampered.
Yeah.
It's non-existent.
Yeah. Right now, there's a few people that do certain shows in like the spots that were doing the quarantine, right? They would have like the band on stage, and like people couldn't get close to the stage, had to be social distancing inside the spot at the smaller joints. And that was a thing that was working. But now that we're doing the phase 2 modified, so the phase 3, it's kind of like, okay, so the smaller spots that they're half capacity is like maybe 30 people. Now they have to close down when they just got back open to get a little money going and start to figure out how they can get shows going again. So it's a push and pull, to be honest. But Organic Android's been sitting on the bench for a minute anyway. You know what I'm saying? our band's been sitting on the bench for about 2 or 3 years now. But I do remember the time that you were almost our lead guitar player, though. You remember that?
That's fun stuff.
That's throwback right there, boy.
Times there.
Are you still playing, man?
Oh yeah. I wish I could get back. I'm officially retired as a performer, but no, I still play every day.
I got you.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
That I wish, and I'm hoping that, especially with this new gig where I'm not going to be having to manage, a team of people, and I won't have to put together a physical product. I'm hoping to like get to expand more, to different artistic endeavors.
Yeah, right on.
Because I have not. I mean, my old lady made the comment the other day that like I haven't stopped or had like a real day off in almost 4 years.
Yeah, man. Your feet's on the ground, homie.
I'm ready for the change. And I came here like wanting to, leaving Atlanta and thinking, that, like this place don't need my help. I need to go somewhere like Mississippi, that needs somebody who wants to make a difference, And I'm not going to act like, that there haven't been moments that I've been like really happy to be involved with stuff, but the daily grind of it, I mean, it has just like worn me down to a stub of what I used to be.
Preaching to the choir, buddy.
Straight up, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've just found myself being so much more cynical and so much like less trusting of like the people around me.
That callous happens.
Yeah.
It does.
We are so similar, my guy.
Especially, the kind of circling all the way back to like the first thing we talked about with, folks latching on to the movement just to kind of make their own star shine brighter.
Exactly.
That's just what I've found through all this. And I've become really discouraged because it's at every turn there is somebody just wanting to boost their profile.
Yeah. You're not here for the cause. You're here for your cause. You know what I'm saying?
And you want to be seen. You want to be,
You're there for the likes.
Exactly.
That you want to get up there and beat your chest and say Black Lives Matter when 2 months ago you were on the fence about the fucking flag.
Yeah,
Right.
Like, and I mean, it is the hypocrisy's off the charts.
It's crazy, bro. It's nuts. But man, it was nice rapping with you, my guy.
For sure.
It's always good to talk to you, man. Maybe we can once you get your thing started up, we can maybe touch base with you on how that's going again. Do like a little second interview vibe.
Be great.
Sam.
Would love it. Would love it. I can be your Deep South correspondent.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, our team is growing every day, bro.
Yeah, right.
We got people in different places out here.
I mean, you already coined it. I mean, we're going to keep that. you know?
Yeah.
Coming up next, our Deep South correspondent, Ryan Phillips.
and same to y'all too. Keep the conversations going. I mean, that's where I feel like, we're at such an important moment in our history that we just have to talk about these issues out in the open. Like we can't pull punches. We have to call things like we see it. And I think, a medium like this is highly effective, in a lot of ways more effective than what I can do, because it is just as simple as having a conversation.
Straight up, bro. Like without a doubt, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're social creatures. We like to hear other people talk. And, if we want to do our best to spread the truth in any way that we can, then
exactly,
it's worth
the hot facts.
It's worth more than a few hours a week to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Well, my guy, we had listeners. This has been Ryan Phillips, the big homie.
Our Deep South correspondent.
Deep South correspondent.
Exactly.
Well, thank y'all for having me.
Yeah.
And Lacey, keep fighting the good fight.
You too,
sure,
buddy.
man.
You
You
too,
too, man. Word.
Well, I guess Drew just hung up on him. So
Yeah,
there you go.
No, actually, he hung up on me.
Word. He wrapped up and wrapped out. Yeah.
Zip it up and zip it out.
Hey, he's a busy man. I get
Say,
it.
zip it up and zip. What does that mean?
Don't think too hard.
A box of wine busts me right out. Anyway, really hope that y'all have enjoyed our second Friends episode. That was Ryan Phillips, editor of Starkville Daily News. He's a G. He's propagating the truth, fighting the good fight, man, on the right side of history.
For sure.
And, again, we would like to hear reviews, how you feel, any ideas for shows that you have, anything. Actually, just contact us. And you can support us through anchor.fm / our podcast name. And you can support us if you want to give us a little money every month just to help us out with all this life crazy stuff.
It's true. We got a couple of jobless people over here.
Yeah, and we and our team is growing, and the funds are slowing.
Hey.
So helping out would be dope.
That's true, actually.
It's just real facts. But again, hit us up on the email at friends.facts.fiction@gmail.com. I swear I'm going to remember that. I'm going to lock it in. I promise you.
You do good reading it. So
I mean, when it's in the document and I'm looking at it, I got it, but I can't just freestyle it. Anyway, man, we love y'all to death. Thank y'all for listening. And I believe next week is going to be another conspiracy episode, but true conspiracies.
Maybe something that actually happened.
Oh, government stuff. Anyway, once again, I'm Justin Hammonds, and I want to say love, live life, because it's worth living, y'all.
I'm Grant Bramlett. I think this is the first time I've ever actually said my name on this, by the way. I'm going to try it again because that felt weird. I'm Grant Bramlett.
Bramlett.
Everybody out there? Never liked you. I always loved you.
You silly motherfucker.
And as Drew Shonut, I'll sign off by saying, be kind to most people, stay informed, and make a fucking difference.
Facts, man. And, use your voices, and fight the good fight. Be on the right side of history. Once again, this is Friends, Facts, and Fiction, and we out.
Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode. Find us on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on everything Friends, Facts, and Fiction. Our Instagram handle is friends_facts_fiction. As always, please reach out to us. You can send any of your questions, praise, and fact-checking to friends.facts.fiction@gmail.com. It's important to us to only propagate the truth, and we will correct any errors we may have made. This has been a production of Friends, Facts, and Fiction.